Okay, and welcome to MangaMash, the show where we talk about manga and there's mashing
Yeah.
somewhere.
Usually by all of us. Yep.
That was awful. Who we all, Dylan? Jesus Christ, that was. Oh man.
I don't know what was. Yeah, yeah. That.
I blame TJ.
I take no responsibility for
Okay, anyways, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Javon from MegaViews on
I.
multiple shows because I'm co-founder of MegaViews, and we got
I'm also Javon, but you can most likely just call me Blackwood. Most people do.
TJ, the ghost that occasionally exists on MegaViews.
Yep.
what was that? I heard some wind somewhere, and then
Then everything else just
Existence.
turned to static. Yeah. The best way to
I
picture
heard something
TJ's
happens if you say
Slimer.
Tyrone 3 times in a row.
Oh, nobody needs to know that.
Search up Tyrone in Open Dictionary now, unless you're not old enough to, then I'm sorry, you can't.
Not saying work.
Well, anyways, yeah, let's let's get to the talking about manga stuff.
Yeah. Enough with the awkward expositions and bumbling intros. We'll get to. Now
Okay,
we
so
should be. Yeah.
Blackwood, I believe we were talking before we started recording that you ran into something.
Very interesting, if not profoundly disturbing, but in the best way possible. Just how I like a lot of my manga. And that is Ichi the Killer. Some people may have heard of it, and for those people, good for you. Those who haven't, you may want to preserve your sense of dignity and maybe not read it. But I'd suggest you would, because who needs dignity nowadays? So essentially, the best way I can describe Ichi the Killer, or at least as one of the main characters describes it, is a love story of sadism and masochism, where the main character Ichi is a sadist with the mentality of a child who whose life has been pretty much shaped by bullying and harassment and violence to the point where he associates any sort of love with violence. Like that's how he considers love. That during one of his earlier experiences, a woman suffering from spousal abuse, and she's obviously upset. But the way he understands it is that she wants him to be the abuser. So that's what she desires. She doesn't want someone else to abuse him. She wants him to abuse him. Not that she wants someone to save her. And that's how his mentality is slightly more warped. And the further you get along in the story, the more you learn about Ichi and how just profoundly fucked up he is. But he's also an assassin, questionably, because he leaves a lot of DNA evidence in the form of blood everywhere and occasionally spunk. That, like I said, if he associates
But
violence with love,
this was made in the late '80s, so CSI wasn't a thing, so that's okay.
yeah, fair enough. All you have to know is that a bit on the fucked up side, as the counterpart to Ichi and his sadistic violence, which he correlates to like just normalcy, is I can't forget his name. You could just call him Heath Ledger, the Japanese Heath Ledger, because he has the Glasgow smile, like a huge Glasgow smile. He just keeps sort of closed together with piercings, and he is the ultimate masochist, where everything in his existence sort of revolves around the idea of masochism being a state of existence rather than just like a state of pleasure. Everything about pain and suffering inflicted upon him is pleasure, to the point where almost nothing seems to faze the guy, because no matter what you do, he just gets harder off the violence. And it's so like the story itself is a little strange. It's essentially this ragtag group of sort of cast outs have a plan to sort of kick out all these Yakuza from this one building that's sort of like the neutral ground for a whole bunch of Yakuza. It's where they live, and a little strange if just conceptualize that. But the idea is that they're going to take it over. But in order to do that, they essentially start a gang war within the hotel by, first of all, like the first thing that happens in the story is that the leader of one of the gangs, Glasgow Smiles guy's father, who is also his lover and his sadist, a little weird, uh, they kill him off. Well, Ichi kills him off. And the way Ichi kills people is through axe kicks. And when I say axe kicks, you can imagine an axe kick, but imagine if there was an actual axe attached to his foot. And then you have Ichi's axe kick, in which he just brings down the hammer on someone's head and they split in two. Or he kicks them like Chun-Li and they split into more than two. Either way, there's a lot of blood when Ichi's done, and then he masturbates. Those are the sequence of events.
Yeah, it's very like a lot of the stuff from that kind of time period is weird. Like, it's not high concept, but it's like let's
Ultra violence, almost in the sense
it's
of
ultra violence meets high concept. Like,
reminds me of like chocolate orange, Clockwork Orange sort of levels of
definitely
the
like chocolate orange or chocolat orange.
Yeah.
Those movies have nothing to do with each other.
Nope.
Well, like I guess that makes sense. Like if you were going to find a Western equivalent,
Yeah.
if you had to for some reason find a Western equivalent,
Yeah. That would probably be the best way I can describe it, where it's a cross between stylized violence and like strange concepts that it's almost as if the plot is secondary to the imagery of love and existence being tied in directly to violence through either self-violence or self-harm. Like, what's the... I should probably find his name, but I probably won't, because I'm sort of lazy like that. But the guy with the Glasgow smile, it's his thing is he just is almost feels like a teacher in terms of trying to teach people of how masochism and pain are like ways of the world, and just sort of inflicting on others with needles and gruesome forms of torture, by the way. Like, incredibly gruesome. Like, some guys hung up on the ceiling with meat hooks, and then as the skin stretches, it forms like almost like a bowl, and he pours boiling oil into that crevice. Or like he just plays someone's penis and lots of stuff like that. Lots of stuff like
this
that.
is the Game of Thrones now. So yeah, a lot of manga from that time has a lot of weird body horror type. Actually, a lot of media from that time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of weird body horror type things going on, which I'm usually not a fan of. Like I've read Ichi the Killer, and I've watched the live action movie.
There's also a live action movie.
Yeah, despite not liking it all that much, really.
Yeah.
Like it was interesting, but I think I read it for more like it was kind like I read it because it was super surreal, and I didn't have anything like it more than me actually enjoying anything about it.
Yeah.
Also, I was really bored one day. That yeah.
Yeah. I'd definitely say it's a good read if you're bored. Also, if you're looking for something off the beaten track, for sure.
Well, off the beaten track for especially modern manga.
Yeah. Like I was saying, like, this is some strange stuff that I've never seen before, and I like it because of that.
Yeah, I guess I'll recommend maybe a couple of mangas that might fall under if you like that, you might want to read these. Homunculus, another very high concept, weird off the beaten track type of story, where essentially a man goes into a very back alley type of psychological procedure, and he starts seeing weird things, and it just goes from the. It's actually I enjoyed the story from. I actually enjoyed that story because wasn't. It managed to pull off some of the weird body horror stuff without being super graphic and being a lot more intelligent about what's going on.
Yeah, Ichi the Killer does suffer from. It wants to be maybe profound, but it doesn't really succeed very often.
Yeah.
Interesting to look at, but don't expect it. Don't go in expecting any sort of intelligent discussion. Most of the time, you'll just be like perplexed is maybe the best word for it. Like, just imagine a man with a Glasgow smile dodging an axe kick of a literal axe by opening his mouth really wide and leaning back. That was it. That was just like that's just like the sort of weird stuff you'll see.
Yeah, and I guess it goes without saying the granddaddy of all ultra-violent modern day set pieces, Gogolo 13. A series that everyone should read because it's the best.
The best around. Yeah, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular that I've been reading. I've mostly been just keeping up with older series that I've started from the beginning. Dr. Frost, Nobliss. Oh, Killer Stall is another one I would recommend. It's another Japanese or South Korean. How do you know how to pronounce it? But it's another South Korean manga where essentially a father was once an assassin, but he gave up his life of violence after his kid was born. His first kid was born, and he opened up a food stall or a restaurant called the Killer Stall, which is his wife knew of his life of violence and killing and made him forswore it. And the last thing he did before he quit was he had to kill his boss because his boss wasn't going to allow him to leave. But during the preceding events, he has to shoot the boss's son, who's like maybe 10 at the time, because the boss has brainwashed his kid that if I die, you have to be the man and finish the job. So the kid gets shot in the head, but he doesn't die, unbeknownst to our main hero, who lives the next, like, 15, 20 years of his life as, maybe, like, around 20 years of his life as a regular dad. But what happens is that his sword pass catches up with him, and the kid grows up to be pretty much psychotic and hell-bent on revenge. And his life is sort of thrown into an interesting situation where he can't. His life of violence is catching up with this life that he wants to lead. He doesn't want to go back, but they keep pulling him back in.
So it's like Taken.
Yeah, it's like Taken.
But Korean.
But Korean. Yeah, even his daughter does get taken eventually. Spoilers. I maybe shouldn't have mentioned that.
Fair enough. Yeah, that actually leads me to the topic I was thinking of. And we'll call it the main topic. A lot in the other show, we talk about like how it's a kind of on writer's block. It's kind of a show about anything, but we like to talk about comic books mostly because it takes place in a comic book shop. So we like to talk about like the state of the industry, every once in a while. And seeing as this, we haven't done it on MangaMash, I kind of want to have a small discussion on like where do you think the industry is going to go, and not just in terms of stories, but in terms of business practices and like, actually yeah, and mostly in terms of stories like, like the last couple of years, at least I'd say since 2000, like we're beginning the topic, so chime in anytime you want. Let's say pretty much starting at the 2000s, pretty much the way the manga industry is going is someone makes something really good, and then everyone latches onto that and attempts to copy it.
I'm inclined to agree with you to an extent. It's like in a lot of. I find that a lot of South Korean mangas have been recently hitting the surface a lot more than I would have seen in the past. And I find a lot of them to be of a much higher quality than the traditional sort of shoujin Jump, the ones you type you'd usually find in Shoujin Jump, it seems to me that the popular mainstream trends are creating that sort of stale state of find something good, then copy the formula. But then at the same time, the smaller, more independent markets, usually based in South Korea, have really been gaining steam. And I'm finding a lot more quality work from them than I would
You
from
know what I
traditional
think
manga.
it is?
What's
I
that?
think they're using the web comic format.
Yeah,
So like, yeah, like a lot of
webcomics
so yeah,
have
so it's a
been.
lot of like self-publishing, really.
Yeah.
Like, let's face it, if you're self-publishing in Japan, you're a doujinshi artist. Like that's it. You're in Comic Cat. That's pretty much your entire market, right?
Yeah.
Like you go to Comic Cat, then you go to the second Comic Cat, and then you wait for the next Comic Cat.
The options are pretty limited.
Yeah, like there's not much indie. Like from what I understand, I'm gonna try to keep comic book talk to a minimum, but this is a direct correlation.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any like people correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's any Japanese companies that are like creator-owned first companies. You know, like Image,
Yeah.
like how Image was created by a bunch of comic book artists, and it's all about the comic book creators creating their own stories.
Yeah. It's what they want to make rather than what they have to make.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's not
can't.
about popularity. It's about like as long as you have enough sales to justify your existence, even
Then
if
you
you're
can
not
go right
making
ahead.
that much money on it, like then
You
keep
can
on
just go
going.
ahead and do what you need to.
Yeah. As long as you have an audience that's buying it, no matter like how small, as long as you're able to keep it even, maybe like then keep on doing it.
I can't think. I think you're probably right. I can't think of anything that.
And I mean
Yeah.
like look at the big like so many stuff like that happens here. Like we have like Image and Oni Print. The guys who did Scott Pilgrim, like,
Yeah.
and these all of this stuff is becoming movies and stuff. So like we're finding success in the indie market, and obviously like you're being drawn to the South Korean market, which is mostly indie.
Yes.
So there's that. Like, so what do you think Japan's gonna have to do to like keep up? Like, do you think it?
I think they're just gonna have to give more freedom when it comes to what can be made and what's coming out. That there has to be less of an emphasis on what's selling and more of an emphasis on what the actual writers want to make. Because a lot of times, if you keep a publication up because it's doing well rather than it's what someone wants to write, you end up with something like Bleach or Naruto where it starts off all right, but then really starts to drag early afterwards. If
TJ,
you
what do
give a
you
lot
think?
more, oh, yeah.
Alright, so
Yeah.
TJ faded out of
Sorry,
existence.
yeah, sorry. Well, it's like Jamon said. Basically, like what's going on now is like you said, there's a ton of stuff that is following like a set pattern, and oftentimes
Yo, TJ, put the
hearing that
mic,
it's,
put the mic close to your face.
is that better? Can you hear me now?
Closer. How close is it to your face?
It's I'm
Okay,
really
there we go.
eating
That's
it.
good. Yeah, keep it up.
Okay, well, it's like I guess the big thing is now that like a lot of editors, like if you want to stay relevant or if you at least want to keep your publication going, then it's probably going to be the editor telling the mangaka what to do, and that'll keep it going. But at the same time, it loses a lot of the charm it originally had. Like a lot of readers.
TJ, flip off the face of the earth.
Yeah. What?
Oh,
What?
oh.
Huh?
It's like, yeah, apparently not. But yeah, you suddenly cut out. Or at least that's what it sounded like.
I guess my mic's crapping out on me.
Oh,
That's
well,
right. You're like moving it like closer than away from your face. Like,
Just it's there. It's just bad nowadays.
Yeah, I think you have a valid point that things start to not regress, but start to get stale after a while. But then there's a complete need for them to continue going on, despite maybe a loss of interest in the actual work itself, because it no longer is more of a project. It's more of just a sale, something they have to do.
Fair enough, fair enough. I think probably the biggest problem is the business model is archaic.
I have no.
It's insanely archaic.
You know how they're currently operating things, or like
Yeah,
how
the
is it?
same way they've been doing it for a long time. Which has always been different than shit. I don't want to keep talking about comic books, but you know, there's a direct correlation. Like,
Yeah,
comic books are doing well now. You know, the comic books are. I mean, fuck, everyone watched the Avengers.
yeah,
The comic books are doing very well, and the thing is, the way they judge what series is doing well in America and what series is doing well in Japan are separate.
right.
In America, it's about sales. How many are you selling? But in Japan, all of it's in one magazine. I mean, it's not until you reach a certain amount of issues that I
You
don't
can
know
be
if it's a year of publication or I think it's a year of publication that you get your own individual volume, right? So the way they decide what's popular is by having a mail-in vote.
and a lot of people aren't. That print is sort of dying out a lot
Yeah, and
less. Yeah,
it's like, why would you do anything that isn't directly money, you know?
yeah.
And also, Japan is using a smaller market to determine what is popular. Like, I don't know what the comic book industry is like in the Asian countries, but pretty much here in North America. So we got America, we have Canada, and we have some of Mexico. We have
Right.
all of English speaking Europe, all at the same time,
Right.
all in the same, within the same week. When Japan, it has to survive Japan, and then be popular enough to leak out here.
Which
So
is a
it's
lot
kind of
harder
like,
feat.
yeah, it's kind of like if Japan doesn't
They're
like it,
starting
then
up. Yeah,
we'll never get it. I mean, we'll get it because it's scanlation, but
but
like we
it's
won't.
not. They're not making the profits that are needed for
Yeah, we won't be able to directly
sustained.
influence the series going. Because those series that I've read, that I'm like, I think if it was opened up to the Western market,
Would have
it
succeeded.
would have succeeded. Well, one, because like if you there's always a niche for everything, and the larger the
Exactly.
market, the larger the niche can be, right? So like, I think as long as you had like a semi decent plot, like you
You
could
can
be
survive almost anything.
yeah. I mean, like there's so like look at all these webcomics. Like we have literally thousands of webcomics, just like
Yeah.
people living off of webcomics, and it's because they're hitting niches. You know, there's gaming, there's slice of life, there's action, there's pretty much a webcomic for every occasion. Like,
You can do almost anything with them.
yeah, I think that like,
If it were to
well,
open up, you'd see
yeah, if we're
much
gonna
better
open it,
results.
yeah. One thing I like is there's a rise in digital manga,
Hmm.
like just like I guess manga webcomic esque form. Like that's coming up a lot, which is can only be good. Digital market for any written media is always good. That means more people can get it faster.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think, and with print being like less of a viable means in some means, like it's not that print is dead. It's just that there's a lot more opportunity if it was more available for like a lot of works are translated into different languages, but manga is almost if you're not getting if it's not popular and you're not getting a scan of it, you're never going to see it.
Oh yeah, there's so many series that like
Yeah.
I just know will never ever
Exactly.
come out here. And like for like sometimes it's like it's hard to explain. You know they're not gonna come over here, and it's probably because they don't think there's a market for it.
Exactly. And it's sort of like a self-replicating cycle. There's not a market for it, so it'll never get translated. It never gets translated because there's not a market for it. Or did I just actually do nothing with that? But I'm not sure.
You're missing a step. There needs to be there needs to be a connecting step between the
Yeah,
two.
I realize like that's just one step. Where essentially the reason why it's not going to get translated is because they don't think it's popular, but they never give it the chance to be popular, so it'll never get made.
Yeah, there we go. And a circle needs at least 3 steps.
Yeah. Yes. I messed one up, but got it in the end.
Yeah.
That'll do. Fix that.
And I think like the let's talk about Shonen Jump because you know
It's,
what?
you know, the one.
To be fair, I'm basing literally all of the facts I know off of Bakuman, and I have no reason to believe those guys were lying. So that's where I'm drawing most of my insider knowledge. So like I honestly think like this lack of creativity is coming from like
Just not enough courage to
it's
take
very,
steps.
Yeah, and it's very competitive. It's like you have to beat
Be
everyone
someone
else.
almost from the gate.
Yeah, like
them
you
to
either have
take
to
a chance.
shoot for the top or like make sure you're above the guys who are drowning. You know, like there's a bear chasing you, and you just have to make sure you're not the slowest.
And that's probably another reason why that we see a lot of the same stuff are regurgitated because it's safe.
Yeah, like they're just
They know.
sometimes you can't you have to just not listen to your fans.
Yeah.
And like let's let Tyrone talk about talk about
moment. Things.
talk about Shonen manga with the butler.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Sebastian
Nobody
the
wants to
Black
hear
Butler?
about that. It's so bad.
Is that the one I can maybe guess?
Just thinking about it hurts me. I'm still reading it too, and I don't know why I'm reading it anymore, but it needs to stop.
I read it probably with less fear and anguish than you seem to. But
Oh. It's like, it's like, let's say, how do I put it? Okay, let's say you're running a race, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, I'm feeling it. It's just going well. I can win this race. And then right after that, you just like you're like, oh, I lost all my momentum, and then you're like slowing down, running behind all the other guys, but you're still in the race.
For some reason, just for the sake of
Yeah.
you've lost momentum, but you can't regain it.
Yeah, it's like you're getting cheers from the fans. You're doing what the fans want to see, but you're still losing because you lost the original momentum you had going for you.
At what point do you think it lost the momentum?
After the Athena arc.
The Athena arc? Which one was that?
It was
After chapter 2.
what was, but it was basically looking back into his the main character's memories of when he was a kid.
Wait, are we thinking of the same manga? Sebastian
Are we?
Black Butler?
No.
Oh, you're thinking about
No.
I thought we were thinking about
We're
that.
men, Javon. We don't read that.
Sorry, I read that.
We only read Hatay the Combat Butler because
Oh,
apparently
that
we
one.
became women somewhere.
I'm like, I'm not even reading that. I'm like, okay.
I have no
well,
clue
trust
what
me,
that
you're not
is.
missing out on
No,
the thing.
yeah. No, honestly, I don't know why I read it up till that arc, and then it introduced a lot of weird elements, and then it decided no,
Stopped
and then
knowing what it wanted to be, it became something entirely different.
no, yeah.
Just lost it along the way in the worst way possible. It's like it switches genres like every couple arcs.
Because it's
Okay.
afraid it's going to like make people bored or something.
It'll lose
like
its
it's trying to
relevance.
stay afloat, and I think it's part of Shonen Jump. Oh, considering how popular it is, it most
I
likely
don't
is.
think it is.
Or maybe like Shonen Weekly.
And
something
it might be
like that.
weekly, it might be magazine. It's probably
I
magazine.
don't
That
even
feels-
know all
That
the
feels
types
like a
for it.
magazine type of thing.
I can't believe that
Yeah.
got brought over here. How did that make it over here?
Because it has this weird cutie art style and loads of chicks.
Yeah, but I mean, then why, how does it, well, you've heard my gripe about that too many times for me to say it again.
What, the world God only knows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, I honestly don't know anymore. I keep on thinking about it, and I'm like, the premise isn't that weird to not come over here.
Yeah.
But they don't over-sexualize the characters, though. I think that's the problem.
But it's not like they need it. Or
This-
like, is that even popular over here? The fan service? Because I mean,
Yeah,
usually it gets a lot of
didn't
hate.
Funimation change the thing to like, we like movies, like look at these movies?
Yeah, they just are.
Yeah.
I swear that was a thing I saw.
When I saw that, I'm like, did they actually?
Was it the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood on DVD?
Really?
they were
What's
like,
that?
And we're like, we got boobs. I'm like, is that like the thing now?
I would not think that would be the place for that sort of
No,
advertisement.
it was Funimation's. It was fun like.
Oh, was that the
Funimation's,
one with like the I think I know which one you're talking about. I think
Yeah,
I
it
know
was a
exact-
commercial for like History's Strongest Disciple, and it's like, we
Oh,
got
God.
the boobs.
Oh God.
Look at his boobs. That's our thing, and then it's like, oh, so no. Oh no, look, we got boobs. I'm like, but you fucked the storyline though.
But the boobs.
But we
Look
got
at the
boobs.
but boobs.
Yeah,
That
and
seems
fan
to be-
service is very, very unpopular, and it's becoming increasingly unpopular here in the West.
Because it's just becoming well, people are realizing it's just fan service.
Wait a
There's
second.
porn for that
There's
already.
no plot here.
It's like
No, but yeah,
if I
stronger female characters are what's becoming more relevant and popular now.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to talk about the comic book side, but Marvel has two runaway hit characters with Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel and Kate Bishop's Hawkeye. Just grabbing a lot of female readers. Now reading, like, comic books have always been for boys, and like, that's the stigma that the comic books have, but like, just with these two characters, they've managed to grab up this like huge female market, and like, these stories are just good stories, not stories like made for women. They're stories about these
that
characters
have women that are
that
good,
are
strong
strong. I mean, like,
characters.
Captain Marvel is about Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, obviously, but like, Kate Bishop is sharing the spotlight with Clint, the original Hawkeye, and they have a partnership thing going. Like, so it's like, here, like, creators are seeing like, oh shit, if we create, like, it's not action that women are afraid of, it's that there are no strong female characters in action that women can attach themselves to.
Because it's all look at the boobs.
Yeah, because it's all like, hey, like,
Look at this anatomy jiggle.
Power Girl has
that
a boob
hole?
window, but she's tough, and I don't know. I don't know the attraction to Power Girl.
I think part of it is I don't know. It's more. I think it's more of an insult to just say that it's like she has big boobs and it's all about, but she's tough. Than it is to just say, yeah, we're about the fan service. It's a half-hearted attempt that just feels insulting.
Like, every time DC tries to justify the boob window, I'm like, no,
You can't.
no,
It's a boob
nope,
window.
no reason to. Still no reason to. No, and like, do we have any of those characters in like really popular, like, shonen? Like, I'll say Marvel is Shonen Jump at this point. I mean, just
And
comparing.
Shonen, well, Claymore is like maybe the best. I think Claymore is in Shonen Jump.
Claymore
pretty sure
is
it
a
is.
Shonen Jump manga, yes.
Yes, Claymore, which is exclusively about it, but
But
truthfully, I think
is that garnering a large female following?
no.
I don't think it is.
Well, I don't know. I'm not.
And like,
Please.
Claymore is one of the mid-echelon stories.
And a lot of it's like that. A lot of the thing is that the characters themselves, there almost no reason for them to be female in the sense that they're good characters and interesting and all that,
But they
but
could have been men.
they could have been men. There's no differentiating them from men.
Yeah, all they did, like, what they did was just gender reverse what fantasy usually is.
Yeah.
which
but
is
not without
cool.
actually developing the characters
Yeah, which was,
to make them
it
differentiate them.
when you hear it on paper, it's like, oh, that's cool, but then it's like,
And one of the most important plot points, or one of the plot points, they just sort of forget about, like, at this current arc, is the fact that that their bodies are completely unrecognizably mutilated, and like they aren't women per se as any more than they are really full humans. That's one of the things, and that's just it's not really a plot point, it's just there and not really mentioned. You would think that could be used as a means to remind and establish, like, these are women and there's a particular importance to that, but there really isn't.
no, like, and even okay. Now I'm going to draw parallels from comic books to mangas because now we're talking about the business and art side of things, and one is doing very well everywhere, and one is not doing very well anywhere. And that is like Marvel has been on the game when it comes to this. I mean, even look at the Avengers movie. They made sure Black Widow
Good
got
screen
scenes,
time.
got screen time throughout and owned the scenes. They gave her like
Yes.
these scenes of Black Widow's hers alone, no one else.
Yeah.
And like I'm not finding that in Naruto or Bleach.
Yeah, a lot of female characters just fall to the sidelines, or become underdeveloped, or become one-trick ponies. In some ways, a lot of it is that sometimes the writing style just doesn't have them there for anything. But it's very
But then
rare
it's like,
for.
why does like it's like, and you have to think about it. Like, why does this male character do something that a female character couldn't do?
Yeah.
That's when you have to think about it. Like, there should be a reason why you have your female characters sidelined all of the fucking time.
Or yeah. If it's not, then it's just bad writing.
It's just you're just not using it's bad writing because you're not using the characters you have,
in any way.
Yeah.
Not to their full potential, anyway. I always bring up Tower of God a lot because I really like that series, but it's just one of the ones that right now, like, they have female characters who are very good. They're like one of the strongest, all like of the top 10 strongest characters. Well, top 30. Yeah. Essentially, there's 3 Uber people who are the strongest mostly by circumstance of being irregular people, but there's also top 10 princesses who are by far like some of the strongest people in manga, and they tend to vary their personalities, but they're all incredibly strong on their own merits, and I think they're very, very well done as female characters in a manga. It's just that I wish I could see more of that, because you really don't. Am I still?
No, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay,
was
just
thinking
checking.
about what you're saying. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be the female character has to take the lead.
No,
but at least
like
put
none
in
of them
a
are
good
main
supporting
characters.
role.
They do. Like, you have a lot of different characters in.
No. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I'm adding to your point. Like, they don't have to be the hero all of the time.
They just have to, not be useless.
They have to be part of the story.
They have to be.
they have to be they have to exist in the story.
Yeah. Because that's a good balance. Like, you have one female character who is just a little bit jaded. She reminds me of reminds me a bit of Toph, not in necessarily backstory and whatnot, but in her sort of small stature, but packs a punch, and just her personality is very serious, very no nonsense, and she's always, got her head around things and always wants to prove herself to be the best because she's like an illegitimate child of one of the top tier houses. So she has something to prove that despite not being, full blooded, she's still capable of anything anyone else is, any of the other princesses are. And I like that.
I'd say like having varied and interesting female characters. Like that's one of the problems with female characters in any story is like they're usually just one.
Yeah.
There's just one. It's usually like token chick. You know?
Yes.
And like when you talk about series with strong female characters, there's usually an S at the end of the word characters because like you have you have a varied amount. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender. We recorded the show about that, and we're talking about like how amazing all of the female characters were, and there was a lot of them. I mean, ones that were constantly relevant to the story. There was at least 5 that were always constantly relevant to the story, which was Azula and her team, and Katara and Toph.
Yeah. Toph is like one of my favorite characters from the series.
Yeah, and all of those characters were badass in their own right.
Yeah.
And I don't think the story, like the character like variety wouldn't be as strong as like if
they weren't
Katara
there.
was the only girl.
Yeah. Because it just sets it sets up the wrong message of not that Katara is strong and self-independent and all that. It's just that Katara is an anomaly and most women are useless.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's
you don't have multiple strong female characters. You just end up with like she's cool, but she's the only one who is because the rest are just useless.
Yeah, she's that one cool chick.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like harems are really big in manga, and like usually those fall flat. Like none of the characters end up being interesting.
Yeah. Mostly because since it's quantity over quality in a harem. You want more chicks, but you don't have time for development. Usually they are one note. You have the innocent one, you have the jealous one, you have the snooty one.
You have the one that fits better with the main character but is going to lose anyways.
You have the one who was there from the start and therefore already has won by default.
Yeah, he was the first one she was the first one he saw, so
they win. They won.
So I don't know why the series is even continuing.
It's like, yeah. For once, I'm not sure how many harems actually in this way, but I would like to. I don't read harem, but it would be interesting to see one where he just does marry everyone, like polygamy. Just like, I can't choose. You're all mine. But then even
what is
that's
this patriarchal bullshit?
Yeah, even that's like a bad example. But for a harem,
patriarchy.
For a harem manga, you already know what you're getting into pretty early.
Yo, I'd like to see a reverse harem done right.
Yeah, not just sex like one guy or like one chick with all. It doesn't.
No, okay, it would be a chick. She'd be the main character. She's bisexual. It'd be 3 dudes, 2 chicks. And I'll save this idea for if I ever have to play the game that's gonna happen very soon. Yeah, so that was my idea for how manga stories can change to trying to grab female readers by making characters that they would be able to like.
Yeah, that usually
helps. people don't like. I'm black. Actually, we're all black. It took me a second to
wait a
actually
second.
gather that. So wait a second. But okay, I'm black, and we're all black, and people usually like. I don't know if this happens to you guys, but I'm always like, I wish there was a black guy in this game, or I wish there was it's usually like I wish there was a black guy in this game or story. And people are like, oh, why? The character's good. I'm like, yeah, the characters are good, but like
ethnic diversity is
and just seeing someone.
It's apparent in our world, so why can't it be apparent in games?
Yeah, and like just seeing someone who resembles you physically, even if it's just skin color, is like big.
You already have a better connection to them just naturally.
Yeah, just naturally, like, and if you fall into a majority. If you fall into a majority, then you'll never understand.
Gruff white guy.
Yeah, it's like you're all of the main characters all of the time.
Yeah.
And it's like the best example was me and TJ. We used to play Left 4 Dead 1 all of the fucking time, and we used to fight over Lewis all of the fucking time.
Lewis is awesome though. For
Everyone
me,
hates
it was
Lewis.
always because he wore a tie. He's classy even in the apocalypse.
He was the optimistic guy in the group.
Yeah.
Everyone didn't like that apparently. Well, they thought he was annoying.
Lewis was awesome, but
See, because the probably wasn't black, but the three
Yeah.
black guys are like, yeah, I like Lewis.
but to be fair, in Left 4 Dead 2, I tend to like Nick all better than I like Coach.
I actually liked Michelle. I
I thought she was okay.
I was one of like the minorities in that one, but I liked her.
But I never played Left 4 Dead 2, so it's hard to gauge a
Oh,
lot.
I
I just
played
like
hell a lot of Left 4 Dead 2 because these guys
again,
are like,
it
yo,
like
look,
he wore a slick white suit. That was pretty awesome. But yeah, Nick is the prototypical gruff white guy main character that everyone
yeah.
is that 90% of people can just like, yep, he's the main character. You can tell by his white and gruffness.
Yeah, like, and it affects like everyone everywhere. Like, like look at most all-girl fighting games. Like, why aren't girls playing that? Oh, it's because the character designs. I mean, if it's
Not for
not Skullgirls, then it's creepy.
Yeah.
If it's not
It's
like Skullgirls, it's like sick. Look at all of these different kinds of characters. You have a schoolgirl, but you also have like a cartoon nightmare character. You have a
Peacock
twisted
for
monster
the win.
character.
Yeah.
You have a militaristic princess character. Like you have
You
all
have
these
the
different characters, and all of them are
mutant
cool.
nun.
Like they're not moe, they're badass and they're cool. Like women would want to actually be these characters because they're cool.
Exactly.
Like no one wants to be an Arcana Hot character.
No one wants to be Busty McGee just to be Busty McGee.
Like really. I mean, like unless you're Jessica Nigri and getting paid to do so, like you're not going to want to.
Jessica Choba, you can be the reporter
God.
from Mass Effect 3, whose contribution is nothing.
She was worth like 5 fucking points or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I think shooting
it's
her
like,
would get net me more points. Fuck.
I don't even know why she was in there, but also I just question many things. Like it's like, oh, women in video games, and then it was just like, and then
Yeah.
she was just there for reasons to show, as if to say, this is what it's like. Oh my
See,
God.
IGN is
see.
definitely gonna give this game a 10 now.
Yeah. Oh god. But it's like, I do have to agree with your point. Maybe it explains my liking of Brook in One Piece, because despite being a skeleton, he is black.
He is the black guy. He's a soul singer with an afro.
Also,
He's Rick James, the
Asuka.
skeleton.
I was gonna say Rick James with Slash's afro and hat, which is also pretty cool.
Yeah, but Brook's the black guy. But like he's like, I can't make a black guy. I'll make him white, like the skeleton.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's it. But like yeah, even in video games, it's like I like.
Soul King.
See, that's why like when things like Anisa Sarkeesian's like videos come up, I kind of want to support the videos, but then like 2 things happen. Like 1, what she says is stupid, and 2, the entire point of the videos is to prove that Mario is making us sexist. That's the one thing that people like to forget. It's like, no, she's not trying to expose the sexism in video games. She's trying to say video games are actively making us sexist.
Well,
If it was the first one,
it seems like the same argument as video games make you violent.
except for there's way less proof. Because what video games making you violent has scientists trying to, break down things.
This is just an opinion.
This is just Anisa Sarkeesian telling us that this is what's happening in the world. We just lost all of the female viewers.
Hey, I'm not.
Well, as long as they don't watch the show, I'm sure there are female viewers out there.
No, there are females who don't agree with that, and that's good.
Yeah, they know.
That's
better.
good.
That not agreeing is spicy. Yeah.
Like that like seeing that within the feminist camp, like there are all like descending views to like not every crazy thing someone says is going to be applauded. I like that.
Yeah.
Gives me hope. But yeah. Yeah, so yeah, strong, powerful female characters is my way to fix manga. What is your way to fix manga?
Who are you referring to?
Either one of you. Whoever speaks
Well,
first.
all right. Well, I guess my way to fix manga would be just make it more accessible because there's a lot of options when it comes to the mainstream, but almost none when it comes to smaller independent, either South Korean or independently funded or just randomly out there mangas. Like you have books of all sorts of genres, but when it comes to what's popular, you're gonna find Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, and like Fairy Tail, Rave Master, and everything else that just bulks into some undiscernible mass. And you're going to find some things that are maybe off the beaten track, but you're not going to find many unless you are really trying to search it out. If you want a physical copy of something smaller and independent, you're shit out of luck. So by making like more manga accessible, then you're allowing for the perpetuation of taking more chances, finding new ideas, and being more open to the idea that it doesn't have to already be proven to be successful.
How do you think you'd go around to do that?
See,
A
that's
lot
the
of
thing.
people are saying hire the scan laters or like find your own scan later type deal.
Well, I'm not sure about that. Maybe I don't know that much about how that would help. I'm just like, even if it was simple as just having more selection if you went to chapters or to a library or whatever like that, even that's a better start because you'll find everything under the sun when it comes to different types of books. But when
Oh
it
no,
comes to
no. See,
manga,
the argument is that like the reason why no one buys manga in out of
in
Japan market is
is
that
because
if you do
scantillation.
it legitly, you have to wait.
Yeah,
I mean, like, look how far behind we are in Naruto. Germany is like
even
reading
further.
pain for the first time.
Yeah, things need to be, I
Yeah, and
guess,
the pirates are literally getting the stuff the day after it comes out in Japan. So
yeah. Actually, yeah, that's a valid point, but I'm not. It's part of the problem with the industry of that. I'm not sure how quickly, obviously, you can get out, but by the time it can be released anywhere, you're already behind the curve so much that you're just playing catch up if you want to read it with a physical copy. But if it were to come out more frequently, or maybe as like in arc bundles, I don't know.
I buy manga basically just because I read it scanlated and I wanted the person to get money.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason I buy manga. I rarely like sometimes I'll crack open the manga I'll buy to read it, but I rarely ever buy manga to read that manga. It's usually I've read the story and I'm
And you
like,
want
this
to
guy
support
deserves
it,
my cash, so I'm gonna buy it.
which is a good thing to do. But again, like when you go to buy manga, how much do you see isn't something you've already read, or at least
Yeah, like there's no main like I have to go to to what's it called to independent dealers
yeah,
to get manga pretty much. I don't go to chapters or anything because the selection is awful.
exactly. There's not much you can do about it. And like if you want something new, you can't find it. That's the problem. You can't rely on anyone else to get anything out because it's not profitable to do so. It's not a proven formula, so they're not even going to bother, which means you'll never get it, which means you have to read, which means they will think that, well, you won't buy it, so we just won't make it. That's the thing.
It's a brutal circle.
Yeah,
That
that
makes
circle,
sense.
the unbreakable circle. It's a Ouroboros. There we go.
That's also a good series. That's also a good series. Ouroboros. Essentially just about two kids who witness murder of their guardian at a young age, and when they try to tell the police about it, one police officer essentially intimidates them not to say anything, and pretty much says, if I wanted to, I could crush your lives like pitiful ants underneath my foot. So shut the fuck up and do what I say. And at that point, they make a vow between each other to get revenge on who they call Golden Watch, because they didn't see much of his face, but what stood out to them was his golden watch. The main character joins the police force, and the other one essentially becomes a Yakuza underground mobster. So they use their combined powers to further their information on Golden Watch to eventually find out who he is. Because they know he's someone important, since the watch that he has is only gifted to people of a very important stature. Yeah. And it's pretty interesting because it's a lot of like dendro baits, where you have a character who's working outside the lines of the law with an sort of overarching goal and working outside typical channels and always trying to keep this facade of being the good. I mean, not even always a facade. They're usually, in both Dendra Bates and Ouroboros, the main characters are good police officers. They just have this side to them that they can't openly expose. They're like Dark Avengers in a way. They're the Dark Knights. They're the heroes we deserve.
Nope, shut up.
Yeah, I'm not going any farther than that.
Do you feel you're in control?
No, I don't. Not when you
Well,
speak
let
like
the
that.
games begin.
I was wondering what would break first. Your spirit or your body.
Okay, but seriously. Oh yeah, so yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, there has to be something done to make it more widely available to everyone at the
And do you know if modern manga has like copyright issues, like for Western mediums, if they wanted to include something?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that's why there's a lot of video games that don't come out here. Like, that's why we don't have Jump Superstores. It's because there's a lot of copyright stuff that like it's just a headache to try to like the people who are making the game are like, it's too much trouble to even try to get all of this together.
Fair enough. Like, that's a lot of stuff that I see in a lot of the South Korean mangas, is that they don't hold by that standard. Like the one I just recently, like one of them I'm reading, which is like Private Super School Hell Extreme or something like that. Oh, I'll see if I can find it. Oh, no, I'm not sure if I can. But yeah, what was I going with that? Yeah, so essentially the teacher is essentially a super high. It's a super school for martial artists with very unique techniques, ones that you couldn't normally teach. Like one of them relies on vibration and spit. One of them relies on increasing muscle mass rapidly. Another one relies on attack helicopters. And like they use the like complete ripoffs of uh, Steven Seagal, Bruce Lee. Like those are like two teachers, and it just gets really heavy-handed on the what do you call them? Just using someone's image blatantly without any sort of regard. And I really doubt they paid any dues. And like another one I was reading had Heath Ledger, and just stuff like that. It's just they have less restrictions about what they can add. So it feels that if they want to have weird stuff like that, they can.
Is it the long style web anime? A web manga? Sorry.
I think it is, but then I think some of them that I know I think long style. But where I read
that's
it,
usually
they
a
have
web
it.
comic, and that's usually like known to us.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like when I read it or where I read it, it's not long style. It's cut up into smaller chunks, which is nice.
Yeah. Fair enough. So TJ,
Yeah. I'd say one way to it's how to say the thing right. I can't get my words straight. But basically, I think
the writer people. This is the guy who writes.
Yeah. Well, speaking. But leave that aside. I'd say the best way to save it is to just really give some more space to the creators. Because I mean, usually like I don't know if over there people actually like the staple thing, like the certain character type or like
I know, they
certain.
like Sasuke a lot.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
it does happen a lot. That's why it confuses me. Like, over here, it's becoming really unpopular really quickly. So I'm wondering, it's like if if the artists were given more like freedom with their work, then they could probably create something way more interesting that would likely survive over here and maybe even thrive if it was really done well.
So
Because
let's
like
make the editors more hands off.
yeah, because like usually when the editor steps in, then things become more generic and it pisses people off.
Or at least that's how it works over here.
Over there, and
Yeah.
yeah, it keeps on going, but it loses a lot of the original integrity it had. I don't know. But then again, there's like come across those that like do something completely different, still can go a long ways with the ideas. It's like the creator themselves decided to end it at a certain point. Like normally you wouldn't think Bakuman would last long, but there you go. Like
It got a
really long.
TV series. Yeah.
And I think it actually got serialized too over here.
Yeah, it
Tons of
did.
shit.
I remember because me and you were walking around, and you're like, "How the fuck did Bakuman get serialized?" But the one God only knows.
Yeah, one of my
Sometimes
gripe
people
moments.
don't know what's good for them.
Honestly, yeah, a bit of experimentation is good. It's really good, in fact. And like even with the shows too, you can see a lot. Like I recently watched Black Rock Shooter. I'm like, how have I not heard of this sooner? Well, I did, but I just didn't watch it until recently. There's a lot more that we can discover just by like being given the like chance to create something without having like the editor step in too much.
Yeah. Fair
But over
enough.
there, it just seems to be way worse.
Yeah,
Crazy.
over there's a different beast. Like we don't know.
Yeah.
Like none of us can understand what's happening over there. We don't live there.
No.
Yeah.
This is all. This is all we can do from over here. Really.
Complain.
Alright, so that was I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Definitely really cool. Now for the end game, what we're gonna end off on.
Da-da-da-da.
My body is not ready.
Alright, so this is what's going to happen. We have several random word generators, one for a noun, one for an adjective, one for a verb. We have Urban Dictionary open, that has a random dictionary type thing going on there. And we have one for one for genre of manga and one for one of us. We're gonna roll all of these, and whoever whoever gets picked has to come up with a manga that incorporates a verb, an adjective, a noun, an Urban Dictionary entry, and the genre, and attempt to make a cool sounding manga with it. Alright, so do you guys want to roll who goes first, or do you want to roll what kind of manga they have to make?
Well, who goes first?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
So we know to
who gets to dread.
Okay, so it's a number between 1 and 3. I'm 1, Giovanni you're 2, TJ you're 3.
Right.
Alright, 3, 2, 1. 3, it's TJ.
DJ.
Now, what's
boy.
the punishment game going to be?
Da-da-da-da.
Okay, what do you want first? Do you want the Urban Dictionary entry, the noun, the adjective, the verb, or the genre?
I guess let's get the Urban Dictionary thing going.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay, so the Urban Dictionary definition is the name Dory.
Dory?
Dory, like the character from Finding Nemo.
Alright.
You can use it as a name. You can use it. You know what? You creative. Do whatever the hell you want with it. Alright, so then we'll go with the noun. The noun you have. Keep this down somewhat, TJ.
I've already opened up the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah. Okay. So the noun you're using is slope.
Low.
Wait,
No, not
slope
slow.
or
Slope.
slow?
Slope.
Low.
Slope.
Okay.
Like a ski hill. Like a ski
Okay.
slope. The adjective is previous, like before. Previous.
Alright.
The verb is execute.
What?
Man, I'm thinking of an interesting manga just from these words.
And the genre. This
Oh,
is gonna
I
be the
forgot about the
kicker.
genre.
Alright, hold on, sorry. No, it's 50.
Let's see.
50.
Romantic.
Mature.
Mature?
Oh.
You got TJ. This is. I've
Maybe
already
too
thought
extreme
of
for
one.
people under the age of 17. Titles in this category may contain violence, blood, gore, sexual content, and strong language.
Alright. Alright, give me a minute. I'm just gonna try and
Alright,
piece
if you
something
need one of
together.
the words, if you need me to remind you of one of the words, tell me. So yeah, okay,
Yeah.
we'll give you some time.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I want to try for.
I was hoping
After
for
TJ.
Yaoi. I was honestly rooting for
Oh,
Yaoi.
that'd be a nightmare.
I was like, okay, well, while you're thinking, I'll list off the possible genres
Definition.
it could have been.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's action, adventure, comedy, demons, drama, ecchi, fantasy, gender bender, harem, historical horror, josei, magic, martial arts, mature, mecha, military, mystery. Oh, okay, I should probably get rid of one shot. That makes no sense for this game. Hey TJ, you wanna re-roll the the genre?
Yeah, are you nuts? I don't know what could come out of that. But
Well, no, 'cause
Hey.
there was 37, but
Oh,
then I
God.
realized there's only really 36.
Well,
Oh,
So
that's
do you
still a
want to
lot.
re-roll?
before.
Or do
Hey.
you want to keep it? I'll let you keep it if you want it.
Oh, yeah, I'll stick with what I got. Let's roll and steal this one.
Okay, so you keep it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
like,
yeah, so after
Once
the
you've made yours, TJ, I wanna have a shot at this.
You know what? We'll all do one. We'll all do one today, and then weekly we'll have one of them. We'll make this
Sounds
one
good.
the extra long show. Okay, so yeah, sorry. After mystery is psychological, romance, school life, sci-fi, seinen, shoujo AI, shonen AI, slice of life, smut, sport, superpower, supernatural, tragedy, vampire, yaoi, and then yoi. So yeah, 36 categories there could have been, and
You got a fairly easy one.
you got a fairly easy one. I mean, slope, dory, previous, execute. I think
Okay.
execute and mature, like
Yeah,
very,
Good. Yeah.
like you got lucky there.
Yeah.
Like, try executing comedy, like
Oh, the hangman. Oh, his antics of killing people. It's so funny.
How long do you think the concept should be?
as long as you can make it interesting.
Oh boy. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'll write this down. That way it'll be easier to get all my ideas out. Oh, this is a bad idea. I realize I can't settle for how I want to explain it. Without, well, I guess.
Spoilers are welcome. You can spoil the story.
So wait, so this is one we create our own, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. If you feel like to explain it, you'd have to spoil it. You can do it.
I'll explain this as best I can. Okay, so basically, the idea I have in mind is that basically there's well, it's like during the time of witch hunts, and there's a girl named Dory, which like the people in her town suspect her.
Oh,
of
I
being
forgot
a
to say
witch.
the title of the story needs to have one of the words in it.
Right. Okay. Hold on. Let me think of a title.
Sorry.
You know, you can come up with the title at the end, like, or you can base it off the title you created, like that.
It shouldn't be too hard. I just thought of something so stupid.
You know where I got the idea for this?
What?
I was listening to the Podtoid, which is Destructoid's podcast, and Jim Sterling decided to blurt out a name of a TV show starring William Dafoe and the guy who played Angel from Buffy, and the name of the TV show was Die on My Dick Tonight.
Okay.
And he made an entire movie out of that title.
I like it.
It was hilarious. But yeah, I decided to kind of twist that, make this a game.
Oh boy. Okay. Alright. Let's. let's. I can't say it. It's too embarrassing.
Do it, TJ. Doesn't matter.
I can't. I can't.
TJ.
It's just so bad.
Well, you can make it so bad that it's good. Like this is.
But I mean, it's not even like the bad kind of.
Let's
it's like
hear it.
so bad it's enjoyable.
We have to
It's
judge
bad,
it.
bad.
Yeah, now we have to.
We have to judge it, bro.
But it sucks.
It doesn't matter. It's life.
It
Jim
matters to
Sterling
me.
made a compelling movie out of the title "Die on My Dick Tonight." By compelling, I mean
but
it was a batshit insane movie.
But I cannot come up with something that so ridiculous. It's good.
Do it.
It's just out of my capability.
TJ, you have to. You lost. Actually, regardless, you'd have to do it today, anyways. But yeah.
Fuck. Okay. I'm gonna try to come up with something good, something better.
Well, have you thought of one, Javon?
Not for this. I'll take my own roles.
Well, I have one for this that I'd like to say, but I don't want to influence TJ's. That's the thing. Because TJ seems to be having a difficult enough time, and if I were to accidentally steal one of his ideas, I think he'd be profoundly fucked.
I guess I'm not having a difficult time, but at the same time, it's not good enough for me.
It doesn't have to be good enough. It just has to be an idea.
But
Yeah.
when it comes to my work, I'm a perfectionist.
Does someone have all of the words written down?
Yeah,
Yes,
I do.
there's
Okay,
Dory,
okay. I
Slope-
will roll myself a story, and I'll get us started.
Alright, I want to really start, but I'll... Let's see. Actually, could you roll me up some words too?
Okay. Wait. Actually, I'll roll my shit. I'll say my story. I'll roll your shit. You say your story. Then TJ
You get to go last.
gets to go last. He's 3. Alright. So okay. Let's see. And my Urban Dictionary is white elephant. White elephant.
See, that right there is just a great title on its own. White Elephant. It could mean anything. It's great.
Okay. My noun is need. My adjective is pushy. My verb is forecast.
What is?
Forecast, like weather forecasting.
Forecast.
Yeah. And my genre is, oh god, this is the one that's good.
Yeah, we...
Shoujo AI,
Oh!
which if you don't know is a soft version of Yuri, which if you don't know means gay on the female side. Fuck, that's actually really hard. Fuck.
I don't know, I thought of something quickly
Fair
right
enough,
now.
fair enough. Okay, so white elephant, need, pushy, forecast, Yuri. But for little kids, like no, not little kids, but like for not older audiences.
Alright.
Okay, so I got it.
Alright.
Hold on a second. I have to make sure that I'm not gonna racially offend like people. Is there a white elephant god?
I'm pretty sure there is. Pretty sure there is.
For some reason, I picture white elephants and just like a Hindu god. I mean, they have infinite amount of gods, but
I think there is an elephant god. Whether it is white, I I'm not sure, but I think it is.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Okay, so the story is.
Oh yeah,
there's-
there is a white elephant god in Hindu. It's
like,
the one of Indra.
Then that's pretty big. I don't want to use that one. But I'll use it anyways. So Indra is.
Well, it's the mount of Indra.
Hmm.
Airavata, and
You know,
he's
I'm
a
thinking
flying elephant.
about this way too much. Okay, so there's a white elephant god.
Right.
This is a god. Religion unexplained. You know, picture
It
it
just-
as like Neil Gaiman American gods. There's just gods everywhere, right? So this one's a white elephant god, and it decides that it wants to live a human life. So because this is taking place in Japan, it decides to be a grade 7 student.
Right.
Okay. So it's a grade 7 student. It's a woman, it's a girl. Grade 7, that's 12 years old?
I guess so. I don't know. It's been a while since I was in grade 7.
Yeah, I think it's 12 years old. Because grade 8 is 13, and grade 9 is 14.
So, yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going by Catholic schooling system, everyone else was like, huh, what? Are you on crack? Okay. So yeah, she takes the form of a 12-year-old girl. Don't worry, it's not gonna get pedo-y. And her appearance is of just a young, obviously Japanese. No, we'll make her Indian. Let's let's be unique. A young Indian 12-year-old girl with white hair. Also, the god is a white elephant, by the way. So I'm using the white elephant. And to stay on Earth, she needs to have a human bond with someone, right?
Right.
So I use the word need. I use the word white elephant. And because she's a god and never really doesn't understand how humans work.
She's a bit pushy.
Yeah, the human she decides to bond with is the first human girl she walks across, who is a grade 12 girl by the name of Yori. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Yori Nagasaki, who I believe might be a King of Fighters character, and also whose name is Yuri. and her attempts to gain the bond between the two comes off as a pushy, cutesy, romantic. Comes off in cutesy, pushy, romantic gestures. It's what pushy. Yes.
Right.
So like, she'll like shower her in roses, or like when White Day comes, she'll give her chocolates. I think that's how it works in Japan, and stuff like that. But the twist is, they're both girls, so everyone thinks that they're both gay.
Right.
The thing is, surprise, Yuri's actually gay. But she's 12 and she doesn't know that yet. So she has to deal with all of the emotions. And the white god girl, who I'm calling Syndra, as a kind of humanized name for the god, doesn't realize like these are romantic gestures and doesn't understand romance as a concept.
Right.
So like she doesn't understand like why anything is wrong. Well, Yuri is trying to figure herself out and grow while this is happening, right?
Right.
Also,
I
the Elfin
think-
God has the ability to forecast weather.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's a special ability. That's a special ability.
I thought you were gonna say forecast, like predict the future, but
No, forecast weather.
Right.
I want to make sure that she has no special abilities that are useful at all and can help in any way. And
Fair
that's your
enough.
choice.
I think that seems pretty interesting. Seems like it fits the genre quite well. I'd say that is passable creation.
Yeah, I got the passable.
Yeah.
Always aim for that 50%.
The forecast was a little on the weak side, but everything else seemed to go pretty well.
Bitchin'. Alright. So do you want your rolls?
Yes, please. Let's see what the fuck I get.
Okay, so your Urban Dictionary is the Pussycat Dolls,
Alright.
as in the R&B pop music group.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm already starting on a little bit of a shaky note.
Your noun is event.
Event.
Your adjective is early, as
Early.
in early in the morning. Yep.
Yeah.
Your verb is draw,
Draw.
as in either draw a picture or draw your gun or something like that.
Yeah.
And your genre is military.
Military.
Military. Contains elements from army. Story may be set in future or past.
Good luck.
Okay, military.
Military.
1 second while I think this out. I need everything between the Pussycat Dolls and military is usable. However, those two may provide some interesting combinations.
That's why I had to use the Urban Dictionary. Like,
Yeah.
That's where everything's gonna come from.
All right.
How about this? To make the game
Yeah.
interesting, you can re-roll either the genre or the Urban Dictionary, because those are the ones that could go horribly worse if you decide to re-roll them. So it's like a gamble. Like, if you can't
Sounds
do
like
it,
you got
Well,
one chance
it
at getting
could
something
just
better.
re-roll, and you only get one re-roll.
I'm gonna re-roll the Pussycat
You're gonna
Dolls.
re-roll Pussycat. Oh my god.
I can work maybe with military and the word, but the
I don't know if
Pussycat.
this is better.
What
but
is
your
it?
new Urban Dictionary definition is Tinky Winky.
Tinky
As
Winky.
in the
Yes,
tallest
the
and most
Teletubby.
notable Teletubby, the purple one.
Oh god.
All right. Actually, I can work with Tinky Winky. I can work with that.
That scares me.
Now, just let me go on the Urban Dictionary and see if it has anything else to add. All right. I think I have the name at least of Operation Tinky Winky, but I'm still mulling through some of the details. Event. Oh, actually.
I like this.
Alright.
You can from now on you can only re-roll the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, that seems a bit more fitting. Alright. Like, alright, I'm thinking along the lines of Operation, or actually, essentially. Okay, actually, no. Alright. Alright. In the early 3000, the Earth comes under assault by an alien menace, one the world has never thought to see. It is aliens that look like Tinky Winky from the Teletubby.
Just Tinky Winky.
Just Tinky Winky. They have the triangular bits and everything. They carry weird globular sacs in the shape of that look sort of like purses as they prance around and consume human DNA. This event is known as the Tubbies. The event of which they spawn from is called the Tubular. Oh, dear God. The military has no choice but to fight back with all their conventional means. Rivalries are put aside, and everyone becomes brothers in arms against this purple menace. They draw together, gather their weapons, and make an assault on this rift in space and time, of which
You're
Tinky
copying the entire plot of Pacific Rim!
Okay, maybe a bit, but I personally think that with event, early draw, military intel, Tinky Winky.
The only unique part of the story I've caught was the fact that Tinky Winky, for some reason, is a kaiju.
Hey, they're not giant, they're foot soldiers. Let me just read. Alright.
Fair enough.
Actually, what was the vacuum in the Teletubbies thing called? I don't know. Let me just search that up.
Was it called No?
Yeah, No. It was No.
How do I know that?
How do you?
It's like, okay, maybe I'll second draft.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah.
we'll allow second drafts.
You want me to? Should I just go in the meantime? Give Javon some time to think.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
go
will
in the
allow you
meantime.
to re-roll your Urban Dictionary.
If you
Oh,
want.
it's fine. It's fine. I can do this. I'm ready. For the most part. just bear with me here. Explaining things is my best trade. Okay. So basically, it'd be called Dory. No, that sounds dumb.
I like how as soon as you begin, it's like, wait, no, it's awful. I'm sorry, guys.
It's bad, yes, but I tried, and that's good enough. So basically, it's called Dory Slope.
Dory
Well, we
Slope.
all-
Two for one.
I'm sorry. Okay, so
Okay.
go.
Okay,
go.
so basically, it's basically about a woman who's like, she's killed in her previous life. Like, she's pushed down the slope by her lover, and then she came back as a student. Yeah, she's pushed down a slope.
What kind
Just
of
a
slope
slight
was that?
incline.
Was it just like an incline on the ground, or was it like a ski slope?
I don't know. There's something down there.
It's like,
Probably led to a cliff,
it's
who
like,
knows?
this is a slope like none I've ever seen before. Well, I've been pushed off of it.
Definitely slow, aren't we?
Yeah.
So basically, she comes back as like basically a snow woman, and then she starts to lead people into it, like towards it, and she pushes them down. Well, she leads them down the slope, and they like she just keeps on killing people in search of the same person who had killed her. But eventually, like she finds out that he already died, and then she just can't like she can't not be one anymore because like she's already like come to that point, but she won't find any like satisfaction because the one who killed her had already passed away. Just like she just spends the rest of her undead life just killing
people via slope.
Either that or they just get slightly inconvenienced to be pushed down a slope.
That would be the best.
Alright, I think I came up with one that is less Pacific Rim.
Okay.
Alright. So, the title is The Tinky Winky Phenomenon, where essentially in the year of the early 3000, we have been, unbeknownst to us, already come in contact with alien life. They've assimilated and worked their way into society. But suddenly, in the year 3053, they reveal themselves in a grand scale event to take over the world. These aliens are 8 feet tall and look like Tinky Winky from the Teletubbies.
That'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, they have no lip, no eyebrows, and strange triangular rods on their heads. They carry globular sacks of flesh that they carry around like purses, and their inhuman machines called No-Nos suck up all who oppose them into liquid goo to feast upon. the military is overwhelmed by this sudden show of force and have to draw upon all of their available resources to try and maintain humanity's survival by gathering all those who survive and keeping them safe. However, this is not as easy as you'd think, considering that these aliens have the ability to shapeshift, and the only thing that can make them reveal their true form is toast. Burnt toast. They can't stand the smell of it. And then it would follow the life of a military soldier fighting on the front lines to defend one of the few remaining human colonies that remains untouched by the Tinky Winkies. And yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Well, you beat me by a long shot.
I don't know about that, but I had Tinky Winky and military, so I worked with what I had.
I'm surprised you couldn't fall out with Pussycat Dolls.
I was like, no, like, it's like, well, maybe have the Pussycat Dolls perform a concert, a military base, when an event, but personally I think it's more interesting with Tinky Winkies. At first I thought you meant like Josie and the Pussycats, and then I'm like, no, wait a second, that's not right. Yeah, so that's what I got. Yeah.
Fair enough. So
I can't.
You can say that TJ won this because
Yeah, his story.
Honestly, I feel like it should have been more ridiculous than it already was.
At least
would
yours
just be better that
The
way.
best part is we don't know what the slope is. Like, it could be anything from a ski slope, so like just an incline, just on, like the middle of a floor or something like that.
Exactly. Nobody knows what happens to the people who fall down the slope. They
They
just
don't
go
know
there and then that's it.
We're going
On
to
to
the
the next
slope.
guy.
Where's that? I don't know. Ah! The best.
That'd be the saddest thing ever. No matter how it is.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I'd like to say that this show is a success.
Yeah, I can definitely see this going far with this concept.
But I'm going to say, since we're doing it one person doing it each week, that person needs to not only come up with the concept, but also complete the story.
Okay.
Alright.
Beginning and end.
You'd have to have a beginning, middle, and the end. At least
Alright.
explain what would happen. You don't have to like go into graphic detail, but there would have to be an ending. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it for the show. Actually, I really like that game. That was fun.
That was very fun.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
was
we're gonna try to do
interesting.
this on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
The amount of time, like, see, I'm not putting them up myself, so I can't promise that they'll be out in a
I
weekly
don't-
basis. But I'll
Dylan?
try my hardest to punch Dylan in the face for every day it's late.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely. I really like this stuff.
Yes, so do I.
Alright, so
It's like, maybe next time I won't come up with Pacific Rim, the Teletubby version.
I was like,
Pacific Rim Light.
Yeah, I was like, okay, wait, they're gonna fight the fissure? What? Wait a second, I saw this movie this weekend.
I was there too. Yeah. Well, you work with what you got, and I got military Teletubbies.
Alright,
Oh,
so,
maybe I should have done it on like an alien military. How they look like Teletubbies, and their no-nos are cannons, and their weapons. Like Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd Teletubbies, everyone. Think about that.
Crazy.
Oh, goodness
fair
me.
enough. Alright, I say we end the show off. We won't pimp out anything. Besides, we hope you come back next time to see the next episode, when
Yeah.
we'll start pimping out our stuff.
Yeah. And we hope you will, since if this is just the start, then imagine where it can go from here.
I just want to get
Military
TJ like
Teletubbies.
trapped in like something like messed up.
Like,
Oh.
I don't know. Like I want him to like. I want him to
Lemon
have to
Party and Yaoi.
Oh God.
Yeah, like
That-
Dynasty Warriors like yaoi fanfic like theater or something like that.
That would roll off TJ's tongue.
You crazy?
I don't know,
God.
TJ. You are the master
You
of
have to limit the
fanfic.
ridiculous
I
things
mean, I just
can
got
write.
Hyman. I just got Hyman. Like this.
Whoa.
Ah,
Like
you
this-
got. It's like if someone had re-rolled, who knows? We may have gotten that.
Then you would have got
Yeah.
Redskins. Like this is.
Hey,
This is
well, those two things could go. Though I guess it depends on what you get for the genre. If you get like sci-fi, then you may be in a different time than if you got erotic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh. Dark places.
dark places. Sonic fanfiction.
No. Some things aren't meant to be. I think that's one of them.
This is Urban Dictionary we're dealing with. It will be.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna have some fun times.
Yeah, Urban Dictionary. Some of the things on there, oh boy.
And we shall see them and delve into the depths of depravity in our own minds next week on MangaMash.